$458 for a new radiator installed by the auto repair shop down the street. $135 for a tune-up. You could do the work yourself and save a bundle. But try to find a private garage that will let you work on your own car. It's almost impossible. But there is a place where you can use state-of-the-art automotive equipment to repair your own vehicle and save money in the process. That's at the Automotive Skills Center, where you have what amounts to your own private garage, with experienced instructors to get you started in the right direction and answer questions along the way. The instructors and technicians at the Automotive Skills Center realize that when you come to our facility, you mean business. Whether it's a major repair or preventive maintenance, we know you want to do the job right and do it right away. And one of the most important things we've found is that no one has to be intimidated by auto repair. But before you use the facilities, there are some things you need to know about the Automotive Skills Center. Hi, I'm Reed Sasser, and today we're going to talk about all the options and services the center has to offer. Then we'll look at the safety procedures you'll need to follow when working here. We think you'll find that the greatest benefit of using the center is the experience of our instructors. We can answer questions on just about any aspect of car repair or maintenance and show you how to do the job efficiently and safely. All right, what can you do at the Automotive Skills Center? Well, just about anything you need to, from changing your oil to rebuilding your engine. Some centers even offer a body work area where you can repair dents and repaint your car. Let's take a detailed look at the services we offer. We'll start with some of the more involved repair jobs. Now, since a lot of specialized equipment is used in these jobs, they must be operated by a trained professional, and you'll usually have to pay a fee. These are jobs like computer diagnostic engine analysis, including emissions testing, auto body and frame straightening, available at some centers, wheel alignment and adjustment, and air conditioner evacuation and recharge. No matter how difficult the job, we want to involve you in the process. For example, you can remove your own brake drums or rotors, then our instructors will use the turning lathe to resurface them. We're here to help you become more knowledgeable about your car. So help us out and ask questions. We'll be glad to answer them. Let's move on to the next level of repair jobs. You'll need kind of a middle range of experience to complete them. These jobs are radiator repair, use of the bearing press and ball joint remover, painting, welding, tire balancing, and strut and spring replacement. Now, it depends on the availability of the staff and the complexity of the equipment at your particular center, but we'll let you know when the instructor is to do most of the work. At the very least, they'll want you to be under close supervision to perform these procedures. But if you have training or experience with these jobs, maybe through your work, you can discuss your particular situation with your instructor and perhaps gain special access. Then there are the tasks that everyone can learn to perform. Tasks like oil and tire changes, engine tune-up with all elements, carburetor repair, checking and changing antifreeze, chassis lubrication, bleeding brakes, drive belt replacement, sensor replacement, fluid checks and refill, and electrical and mechanical parts replacement. We'll guide you through until you're confident you can do the job on your own. But we won't be too far away, so if you're not sure about a step in a procedure, just ask. And these are all jobs that you can do with a minimum of supervision. So remember, from oil changes to engine rebuilding, body work and painting, we're here to serve you. And there may be even more services offered, depending on the staff and equipment available. But that's generally the range of services you'll find in most automotive skill centers. Now let's move on to the use of the Skills Center in general and the safety precautions we want you to take while you're working here. I really can't stress safety enough. You'll be working with power tools, machines with moving parts, and some potentially toxic substances. You should know Our staff is vigilant about maintaining safety standards. We just don't want you or the people you're working with to get hurt. We can divide the Auto Skills Center into 4 basic areas: reception and tool checkout, work bays, machine room, and the engine rebuild room. As we mentioned before, some shops may have a separate auto body section. Each of the 4 areas has its own rules and safety precautions. Let's look at the reception area and tool checkout. This is where you'll come first when you arrive at the center. Present your ID and tell the staff what kind of work you want to do so we can assign you a work bay. When you're finished with your job, you can pay any fees back here at reception. At tool checkout, you'll receive a general tool kit containing wrenches, screwdrivers, and socket wrenches in either standard or metric units, depending on what kind of car you have. You can also check out specialty tools like impact wrenches and torque wrenches. Some shops use tool boxes. Others use tool boards to store and keep track of tool kits. Once you check out a tool, you are responsible for it until you return it. And once you've finished, return tools the way you received them. That means all tools should go back in their proper place. Most kits use a picture plan or a checklist, so it's easy to find out if you've lost a tool. If you lose a tool or if you break a tool, it's your responsibility to replace it. It's part of the agreement you make with the center when you use our facilities. Now, here's a rule that should be posted in every shop. Use the tool the way it was made to be used and use it safely. If you need a crowbar for a job, use a crowbar, not a screwdriver. Now, these tools were broken through misuse. We don't welcome the abuse of tools in the Auto Skills Center. For one thing, it's dangerous. As we've said, safety is our first concern. If you don't know how to use a tool, ask an instructor for a demonstration. Here are some of the tools and the safety precautions you'll take when using them. Floor jacks. Use them to lift the car only. Never rely on the floor jack to hold up your car. They're just not designed to support the weight of the car for a long time. Instead, put jack stands under the right contact points to hold it up. The creeper is a handy device that lets you slide underneath the car that's up on jack stands. When it's not in use, though, store it standing on end. Don't let it become a skateboard for you or anybody else. Remember, use the tool the way it's made to be used. Then, when you're using any kind of a test meter, such as a timing light, a volt-ohm meter, or a vacuum gauge, keep these safety points in mind. Hook all wires or hoses up properly. Now, ask an instructor if you have any doubts about how to hook them up. Make sure all wires are away from high heat sources, such as the exhaust manifold, so the covering insulation doesn't melt. And keep wires away from moving parts, especially the fan, since most fans now are electric and can come on without warning. When you're using impact tools, it's most important to wear eye and hearing protection. Shatter-resistant glasses, goggles or shields for the eyes, muffs or plugs for the ears. Make sure you know how to attach the impact tool to the air hose and how to change bits. It's important to get help from the staff if you're not sure how to do it. And here are some guidelines for specific impact tools. With impact wrenches, be careful of over-tightening nuts or bolts. Don't over-torque your work. In most situations, impact wrenches are used only to take bolts off. When using the impact chisel, be aware of what's immediately surrounding your workspace. Flying debris could injure people nearby, and if the tool slips off, you could damage other parts of your vehicle. Let's review the tool checkout and safety procedures. Keep track of the tools you check out. You are responsible for the tool once it's checked out. Use the tool the way it was made to be used. Ask for a demonstration if you are unsure about how to use a tool. Store creepers upright. Only use floor jacks to raise the car, never to hold it up while you work under the car. Keep all test instruments away from high heat and moving parts. For impact tools, be careful of over-torquing nuts or bolts, be aware of surroundings, and be sure to get instruction on proper hookup of air hoses and accessories. Now let's move on to the second major area of the center, the general work bays. This is where you'll spend most of your time. Some centers designate specific bays for specific jobs. They might keep 1 or 2 bays just for oil changes and the bay nearest the engine rebuild room for engine removal. Other special bays may be set aside for alignment, tire work, and welding. Here are our basic shop safety rules. Don't wear open-toed shoes in the bays and work areas. Smoke only in designated areas. Watch out for tripping or slipping hazards, such as oil spots or tools and parts on the floor. For oil and antifreeze spills, wipe them up immediately. When you finish working, clean your bay and work area thoroughly. Waste materials such as oil, cleaning agents, oil containers, and used filters should be disposed of in the proper receptacles. Work on cars only in the bays and designated work areas. No work is permitted outside the building unless it's specifically marked as a work area. Oh, one other thing. A lot of times when you're working on your car, you'll be using a shop manual. It's important to read it carefully and pay attention to words like warning, note, or caution. These words indicate areas where you have to be extremely careful because you could ruin a part or cause yourself serious injury. Well, that covers our safety concerns. Here's some of the equipment you'll find in the bays. Garage doors. Now, you'd be surprised at the amount of damage and injury these can cause. The bay doors are much bigger and heavier than home garage doors. When you're operating the garage doors, just make sure the doorway is clear before you lower them. Some are electrically operated and can close pretty fast. Then there are the hydraulic lifts. There are several different types. Some are platforms where you drive the car onto the lift. Others use arms extending from the sides or from a central pole that swing out and lift the car at its special contact points. Before you operate these lifts, let our staff give you detailed instruction on how to position the arms under your vehicle. We'll also tell you which lift is best for your car or project and show you the contact points for your make of automobile. But no matter what kind of lift you work with, you'll want to follow these safety precautions. For lifts that utilize arms, make sure the arms are locked and that they lift at the proper contact points. Otherwise, you could severely damage the vehicle. For platform lifts, be certain that you set the car's parking brake before you raise it. Set the safety catches after you raise the lift. If the hydraulics fail, the latch will keep the car from falling. And then before you lower the car, double check that there's nothing underneath the lift. Then release the safety catch and allow the lift to lower. Sometimes when you're working on your car, you need to run the engine inside the bay. Always use the shop's exhaust removal system to vent the harmful carbon monoxide emitted by the engine. There are several different systems, all utilizing long hoses that fit over the car's exhaust pipe. Let us know when you've attached the hoses so we can turn the systems on if necessary. And now, a word about asbestos. It's a substance used in brake pads to prevent them from burning under the heavy friction when you apply your brakes. Since asbestos is a known carcinogen, it's necessary to trap all the dust found around and on the area of brake drums and disc rotors. To do this, you'll use an asbestos brake vacuum or wet wash system. If you're going to do any brake work, let us know, and we'll show you how to use this important piece of equipment. We mentioned earlier how important proper waste disposal is, not only for the environment, but to comply with federal and local regulations. A lot of the materials that used to be just thrown away, like oil, used oil filters, coolant, and scrap metal, can now be recycled. We'll show you how to prepare these materials for recycling. Materials are classified as hazardous waste when they are corrosive, reactive, toxic, or ignitable. Though used oil and some other substances are not hazardous waste, their disposal is regulated by the Environmental Protection Agency. So it's very important to dispose of these fluids only in marked containers provided by your shop. Never mix different fluids or materials together. Because if even a cup of paint solvent, which is a hazardous material, were added to a tank of oil, then the entire tank must be treated as hazardous waste. As a rule of thumb, always read signs on disposal containers. If you're unsure how to dispose of a substance, just ask and we'll point you in the right direction. And since you'll be working with some potentially caustic or toxic materials, we have at least one emergency eye wash and shower station available in the bays. Make sure you note its location before you begin work. The emergency eye wash can flush out chemicals or debris that's splashed or flown into the eyes. You'd use the shower to wash off chemicals or caustic substances from the skin. But it's best to avoid situations where you have to use the wash stations. So, use safety goggles or shields, proper protective clothing, and the right shoes to prevent injury. Here's a review of equipment and safety rules for the bays. Clean up oil and fluid spills promptly. Watch garage doors during opening and closing. Depending on the type of hydraulic lift you're working with, make sure contact points on arm lifts are positioned properly. Set car parking brake on platform lifts, and set safety catches for all types of lifts. Hook up shop exhaust removal systems when you run the car inside. Use the asbestos brake vacuum or wet wash system to remove brake dust. Dispose of oil and hazardous waste in an approved manner. Never mix fluids together. Locate the emergency eye wash and shower stations before you start work. And wear proper clothing, footwear, eye and ear protection. Now we'll move on to our machine area. Here are some of the most interesting pieces of equipment and some of the most dangerous. Tire changer and balancer, brake drum and disc resurfacer, drill press, hydraulic press, grinders, and maybe a welding booth. Some of this equipment requires a technician to operate it, but depending on local conditions established by the Automotive Center manager, you may be using the tire changer, various grinders, and the hydraulic press. Here are our safety rules for the machine area. Eye protection is a must here. Flying debris from the grinder or drill press can be a real hazard. Hearing protection is a good idea too, since repeated exposure to loud, high-frequency sound can cause hearing loss. And no jewelry. Wearing jewelry can cause serious injury in an instant. The tire changer is a powerful tool that can not only injure the user, but can seriously damage your expensive wheels and tires if it's used incorrectly. When you're ready, we'll give you a detailed demonstration on how to operate it. The grinders and drill press are similar to tools you may have used in a wood shop. Here are a few tips to keep yourself from getting injured. When grinding, keep the object in contact with the tool rest. Don't try to hold it above the center of the grinder, since the machine might tear it out of your hands. Always wear eye and hearing protection. When using the drill press, clamp the object to the drill press base. If the drill binds with the metal, this will prevent the object from spinning around. This is the hydraulic press. It generates enormous pressure. You should only operate it with an instructor there to show you the various attachments available and to guide you as you set up the machine. The most important thing is to make sure the pressure level doesn't get too high. If you're reading 1,500 to 2,000 pounds of pressure and that ball bearing still isn't budging, back off. Pressure at that intensity will snap metal. Now let's move to the engine rebuild room. Here, you can lay out all the parts of an engine on a table and really get a feel for how your vehicle works. It's important to keep this area clean, so be careful about oil spills. The engine rebuild room may seem like an imposing place to a novice, but we encourage you to just come in and watch others work if you're not inclined to do so yourself. Let's review the machine area and engine rebuild room. Only use equipment when authorized to do so. Use eye and hearing protection. Don't wear jewelry. Get careful instruction on the use of the tire changer. Closely monitor the pressure on the hydraulic press. Keep oil spills and clutter to a minimum for both safety and convenience. Well, that's our tour of the Automotive Skills Center. The center gives you a unique opportunity to learn how to maintain, repair, and understand the mechanics of your car. And you can work under qualified instructors who can guide you through a job and, if necessary, step in to complete the more complex procedures. You can save money by sidestepping large commercial repair and maintenance bills. We know many car owners find the idea of fixing their own vehicle just too confusing and difficult. But here at the center, you'll learn the technical skills to do the job. And more than likely, find that you can do more than you thought you could. You'll discover confidence and pride in understanding the way your car really works.